Program called Lunch at Landfills. I love seeing these kids up in the front because I truly believe if we're going to address and solve the climate crisis, it's going to be people under the age of 25. They get it, they're scared, they're nervous, and we need to empower them. So we're going to talk about Lunch at Landfills is largely a school-based program, but we're talking about food waste. So I'm working with the World Wildlife Fund, and one of the takeaways is we as Rotarians need to coordinate and work with WWF, ReFed, Project Drawdown, other organizations that we don't operate in silos but work together. The bottom line is in the US, 30 to 40% of the food we grow or produce is wasted. Now I love Costco. I buy avocados, they're hard as rock. I have to wait a week or two for them to soften up. By the time I get to the fifth or sixth one, they're already rotten. I don't know how many loaves of bread I throw away that's moldy. So we are all responsible for purchasing food that we don't eat. We got to do better. I met Catherine Wilkinson at National Geographic. She's from Project Drawdown, 100 solutions that will reverse or will draw down carbon and reverse climate change. The solutions are everything from electric vehicles to plant-rich diets, more sustainable agriculture. Food waste and composting are number 3. When we bury food in a landfill, it breaks down into methane gas, 86 times more potent than carbon emissions from your car. So landfilling organics is something that we need to stop now. And this is the poster that I want everyone to think about. It's no longer okay not to know. So if we don't know the problem, it's time to educate ourselves. And it's more importantly, I don't want to talk about it. It's no longer okay to act. Now, on this poster, I'm promoting some other activities. Food recovery is what I want to be the biggest takeaway, and I'm thinking about cafeterias. We cannot be throwing away unedible food. You can't share a tuna fish sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich. Someone might have an allergy. But there's a lot of food, apples, carrots, milks, yogurts, that kids aren't eating and they're throwing it away because they don't have an option. And that's what the essence of the problem. The other solutions, decontaminating recycling. We need to understand what we can recycle, and it's not a lot, but we need to recycle what we can. Number 1s and 2 plastics are basically the list of what we can recycle. A lot of the other plastics have that recycle arrow on it. I looked at the recycle bin in the cafeteria here. We don't get it. It's time for us to get it, and we need to act quickly. So Stephen Covey wrote, "Begin with the end in mind." What I want the end in mind is when it comes to cafeterias, we need to stop using single-use plastics. I spoke to a woman that used styrofoam trays. Kill me. Styrofoam trays, really? There are a lot of schools that used to have scratch cooking and dishwashers and reusable silverware and trays. They stopped doing that. We're using single-use plastics. You know what makes me absolutely nuts? Is the fork and the knife container in the plastic with a napkin that no one ever uses or opens. And we're just, and when we think about the hundreds of thousands of those that are going in the trash every day, it's not okay, we need to change. Where I'd like to be is this. And you could look at, I met an incredible woman, she's advocating for stainless steel trays, silverware, bulk milk with automatic dispensers. This is where we want to be. But it's going to be a tough road to get there. Some schools don't have dishwashers. They don't pay the staff for it. This is where we want to be, but I'm trying to get where we can be this year. Okay, so the basic essence of this program is, number 1, stop taking reusable good food and action. 50 pounds a day for a school of 500 kids. When you multiply, I have the math, I'll show you the math. Okay, the other things that we want to minimize is clean up and decontaminate recycling. This doesn't cost anything, but it takes some effort and someone to teach. What makes me crazy is that schools aren't teaching students what is recyclable and what is not. And there are municipalities that can recycle more than others. So what we can recycle in Frederick isn't what you can recycle in Calgary. So knowing what you can in your community is really important. So we need to know and we need to teach. The teachers aren't doing it. So we as Rotarians, we as citizens, we as PTA members need to do that. Limit single-use plastics. In lunch, the paper bag and the sandwich bags have got to go. If you're gonna give your child a lunch, put it in a reusable bento box, something like that. And oh, by the way, tell your child if they don't eat it, bring it home. I don't know how many kids have an apple from home, they throw it away. Mom's gonna yell at me if I didn't eat it. Well, what's gonna happen is if you have a reusable container and you bring it home, you're gonna eat that, you're gonna have that same apple tomorrow and save your parent money. Compost food scraps. This is what we've been doing, this is what we can do. If your community has the capacity to compost, if they have a hauler to take it. Some schools do on-site composting, but they're pretty much limited to fruits and vegetables. If you have a commercial compost hauler, they can take bones, pepperoni pizza, turkey sandwiches. They can compost anything that you could have eaten, but don't. And that's really the cleanest solution. Building Services doesn't want to have an on-site compost facility if it goes bad. What happens in the summertime? If you have a hauler, if you have a facility to take the compost, that's what you want to do. And by doing this, you reduce greenhouse gases and build up the soil. Okay. This is an example in 29, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm backsliding and I'm getting impatient, I'm getting a little angry, and it's time to stop fiddly farting around and get rid of it.
Tell it like it is,
in
Joe.
Sugarloaf Elementary, we started the program, 4 bins, liquids, 20% of what was going into the trash was liquids. Just by pouring the liquid out, if you don't drink your whole milk and you got a half a container of milk, you can't recycle that because it's going to turn into cottage cheese. So pour it out. A lot of that was unopened milks, which I'll show you in a minute. Having kids decontaminate, recycle, it's not a lot of weight, but it is still a lot of volume. And out of 19,000 pounds in a 6-month period, we reduced it to 2,900. And this is what we can do anywhere and everywhere if you have this capability, and we got to start. I had 14 programs in Frederick County doing this in 2019 into 2020, then we had the pandemic. And a lot of schools didn't pick it back up. It's like, we've proven that this works, but school systems are reluctant. There isn't a superintendent in the country that's going to take on the food services or building services union and raise a stink. It's going to be innovative teachers. It's going to be forward-thinking principals. And any kid in the country will embrace this, which is what I want to get to. This is an example of food waste. This was one day at Lincoln Elementary School, 625 students, a Title I school, 84% farms rate, free and reduced lunches. So this is a poor community in Frederick. And this is one day's take of uneaten food. There's 76 milks that day. So kids are given the milk, please drink it. If you're not gonna drink it, don't throw it away. Put it in the fridge. Put it in the fridge. At Lincoln Elementary School, we recovered 11,000 milks in 1 year, 11,000 from one school. These are the absurd numbers we're seeing. You give a kid a milk, they're not gonna drink it. They may be lactose intolerant, whatever it is. You know, we want to do offer over serve. Okay, if they're not going to drink milk, don't give them one. But when you got 100 kids coming through the line, it's like, honey, what do you want? Chocolate, white, go. And efficiency is the rule of the day. This has to end, and this can happen and start ending this year. One of the big reasons why people are concerned, food services, like, well, if we have a share table and we donate it, someone might get sick and we might get sued. The Emerson Good Samaritan Food Recovery Act, adopted in 1995 and strengthened in 2018, indemnifies anybody from lawsuits. If someone gets sick from the food you donated, you cannot get sued. Unfortunately, people don't know that. Food services don't know it. Administrators don't know it. Why don't they know it? It's time for them to know. This you cannot see. This is a chart from Green Valley Elementary School, and the data is like, what I want to point out is the graph to the right. Those numbers were one-day totals of milk, fruit, prepackaged goods that were being recovered in a day. On December 14th, 81 milks were recovered and put in a refrigerator instead of going into the trash. One quick anecdote. In 2021, the federal government decided, as we were coming out of the pandemic, to make free lunches available to everybody. So in August, parents were making lunches. In November, I'm not making a lunch. You get one for free at the school. We went from 125 pounds total trash from that school in August to 295 pounds on November 19th. And most of it, we would have maybe 50 pounds of organics, 126 pounds of organics, 122 pounds of liquids. The kids weren't eating it. You can give it to them, but you can't shove it down their throats. What we did by providing free lunches is we created more waste than feeding people. Okay? Unfortunately, the food isn't all that edible. And I busted my granddaughter. One day, I was in her school. She convinced her mom to let her buy pizza day. I see her, what's the first thing she's eating? Ice cream. Ice cream. Is that the first thing you're gonna eat? If you're in a cafeteria and you have healthy food and an ice cream, what's getting eaten first? Ice cream. The thing is, she didn't touch her pizza. And I watched her throw it in the compost bin. And that afternoon, I said, Katie, ask your daughter how the pizza was today. And she lied. She lied. I'm like, you're a liar. I'm in my eight-year-old granddaughter's face, okay? But that underscores the problem. First off, the pizzas aren't any good. And you give the same size pizza to a fifth grader that you do a first grader. Portion appropriate lunches is something we have to do. I'm trying to talk logic to food services and building services, and it's harder than you might think. Okay, some math. So we've got 50 pounds of food a day, and I verified this. I'll show you my friend from Guilford County, North Carolina, same data. Washington, D.C. food recovery, 60 pounds a day. Indiana, 50 pounds a day. This is a universal number. That if you don't have a share table functioning properly, 50 pounds of edible food, recoverable food, are going in the trash. You multiply that by 180 days, and then you multiply that by 98,000 schools. We're throwing away 880 million pounds of food in school cafeterias. I did the math. Why am I the only person doing math? Pete Pearson from the World Wildlife Fund is all about this. Because we have to scream this from the mountaintops that we have to stop this and we have to stop this starting this school year. Okay, so my friend Laura Oxner from A Simple Gesture, North Carolina, parallel program. And one of the things we want to stop doing is stop thinking about, let's stop working on silos. Let's make this a universal national program. And guess what? I'm not asking for the EPA or the Department of Education or anybody to institute this. This is going to be citizen-driven and student-executed. Okay, I don't know if you can read this, but her objectives are to, if you have a milk, put it in the fridge. Basically, everything that she was doing with food recovery is exactly what I'm doing. If you can see this, I don't know if you can blow this up. I'm having trouble reading it because I wear my glasses. But it is having a person inside the school, a teach staff person who kind of manages the green tea. See, the students will do this. If you have an environmental club, and does your school have an environmental club? Do you know? Guess what you're going to find out when you go when the first day of school. You're going to see if you have one, and if you don't, you're going to form one, and you're going to get your friends to join you. Okay, because this is on you. Okay. Same thing. I know it's about, I'm sorry, children. You came, now it's on you. Okay, so A Simple Gesture, same thing. 50 pounds of food a day, 126 schools, 1.2 million pounds of food that they recovered from the trash can in Guilford County, North Carolina. And what happens is kids are drinking it. If they know there's a second milk, they'll take it. At the end of the school day, kids are walking out the door with it. Let's not throw it in the trash. Very little is actually left over. And if it is left over on Friday, we need someone to take it to the local food bank. I can't show, I don't know if I can show this. This is Pete Pearson, the World Wildlife Fund, and I don't know how to click this on. It's a 1-minute video. I'm not going to show it. But I've been working with Pete Pearson, the World Wildlife Fund. He was in Memphis, Tennessee. And this is basically rolling out. In Memphis, they had a share table, and they were putting milks in a tray of ice. But it's not really monitored. A lot of schools have share tables, and the kids aren't accessing it. They're not really doing anything. A mini refrigerator with an external thermometer and a glass door kids see that there is food that they can take, they'll take it. Anybody from California? Okay, you got SB 1383. You have a mandate, 50% reduction of organic waste by 2020. You haven't gotten there. 75% reduction of organic waste disposal by 2025. Not even close. And a 20% increase in edible food recovery. This is exactly what I'm trying to do here. The mandate is not funded and it's not enforced. So there's some communities in California doing a great job of this, okay? And they're composting. Most of them are not. They don't even have a how-to manual to implement this. This is what this is, a how-to manual. Let's do this. Let's feed hungry people. Let's collect and get organics waste out of the waste stream. Let's stop producing methane gas on the number 3 level that we're doing right now. Okay, the other big takeaway. I want you to think about recovering uneaten food, and I want you to reimagine Interact. So, how many club members, I got different clubs here, but raise your hand, how many of your clubs has an Interact club? Okay, whoa, okay, I'm feeling it. Because my district, 7620, has 63 clubs. And we have 30 Interact clubs on the books. But there are probably only 12 to 15 at most that are actually functioning. So my message here is this. Align Interact. First off, if you don't have an Interact club, you're starting one this year, okay? That's the bottom line. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna align Interact with the environmental club. Because Rotary is gonna be providing meaningful, measurable, climate adapting practices. Whether it's lithium battery recovery, whether it's Trex plastic film recovery, whether it's decontaminating recycling, and most importantly, don't throw away edible, recoverable food. We are the source that can provide these resources to these kids. What we need to do is we need to fundamentally change behaviors. And I'm not going to be able to do that easily with any Rotarian here because the recycling here is contaminated. We stink at it, okay? No one's there telling us how to do it. In the cafeteria, when you roll this program out, you're gonna have compost ambassadors. There's one person I talked to earlier, they're giving the kids sashes to wear, and they're the compost coaches, and they eat quickly, and they stand over the lunch station, and they help kids put things where they are, especially the kindergartners and first graders who lack the manual dexterity to pour out the leftover milk and put everything where it needs to be. But environmental clubs will do this, and I'm going to tell you, there isn't a kid who wouldn't volunteer for this. We started the program in Middletown Elementary School. A third grader asked to get this started, got the principal to buy in, had a teacher to help her. She asked 5 of her friends to help her do composting. I went there and rolled out the program with her one day, said, okay, kids, on Monday, we're going to do this. In 2 weeks, they had 90 kids in the environmental club. They all wanted to do it. If we give children measurable, meaningful actions that they can implement now, they will gravitate to us. I promise you, if we function our Interact programs in this manner, 10 years from now, there'll be 10 million Rotarians. We're not going to be adding a friend or a business person 2 or 3 a year. These children will become Rotarians. Okay, this is the advocacy part, which has me absolutely insanely frustrated. So we were doing really successful compost programs in schools. And Lord Charcuterie, a delegate from Tacoma Park, said, I want to get $250,000 for you to start programs, which would have funded probably 90 to 100 schools with compost bags, hauling, that sort of thing. We printed 6,000 cards. She said, look, we were going to have a rally. 2022 is too soon out of the pandemic. He said, letters are better. And not those form letters that you get an electronic document and you sign it. Those DocuSigns don't impact legislators at all. A handwritten card, now I've got, so we printed 6,000 cards and I had kindergartners drawing pictures. There is nothing more powerful than that. Kid art's the best. And when they say, we want to save the planet, or compost will help us save the planet, you can't ignore that. And they didn't. The bill passed. Overwhelmingly, 127 to 4 in the House, 44 to nothing in the Senate. But they didn't give us any money. I said, wait a minute. This is for $250,000. It passed overwhelmingly. Not giving me anything? Well, it's not in the budget, maybe next year. We went back, angry, okay? And we didn't ask this year, we demanded. And it wasn't me talking, because I'm an old guy. You're some environmentalist. I can ignore him, but you can't ignore kids. And it's the kid voices that will absolutely champion this and make it implemented in their schools. Because it's the students that are constituents. Those teachers, that principal has a job because they have kids. They are obligated to listen to you, and if they don't, they're malfeasant. So we went back to Annapolis, they gave us the $250,000, and then Maryland State Department of Education was the fiduciary, and they squandered. They took so long to put the bids out. Schools didn't have an opportunity to bid till January. They didn't process the applications till February, and they didn't have money until March. You don't start a program in March. And oh, by the way, it was $250,000 for 5 years, and they forgot to ask for the $250,000 for 2024, and it went away. So all this effort, all this success vanished. We went for a bill this year, $3 million. Politically and finally, it didn't pass. I'm done. I am done with government. I'm done with school systems. This is on us. This is on citizens. We are business people. We have means, and we need to implement it, because if we do that, things will happen this fall. So, like I said, we can't rely on the federal government. Identify funding sources. A good friend of mine, a fellow Rotarian, Dario Cavazos, is a member. He works for Edward Jones, and he's on the national sustainability team. I said, Dario, they have financial consultants in all but 6 counties in the United States. I'm not sure how many it is in Canada. I want you guys to donate 2 refrigerators. $900, and I'm working with HD Supply that will deliver them. So HD Supply is a national wholesaler. They will deliver a refrigerator to any school, anywhere in the United States and Canada for a fixed price. And it comes with a warranty. And I'm not asking schools to pay for it. They're going to come up, we don't have the budget, we don't have a shortfall, can't. Okay, we can. What we need is a principal to say, okay, we'll accept this in our cafeteria, thank you. And I need a teacher in the school to just harvest some kids. I've got a great recording of Carrie Wolf, who said, look, we started the program, the kids took it, and I kind of got out of the way. All you need to get it started, and the kids will carry the day. So the hope is, what I need you to do is this summer, and if not early September or August when school starts, you need to talk to principals and say, I want to see your waste situation. Do you recycle? Do you recycle well? Can I just come in and have a look-see? Or if you have a parent or a child, someone who gets you in there, they'll secure you up to check in, but you're entitled and allowed to go into a school. Assess the problem. If it's in Guilford County, they don't need you. It's already being done. There's certain schools, Winnetot's Confluence in Washington State, they're doing this. So that the good news is if they're doing it, okay, I'm off the hook. I'll move on to another project. But most schools do not. They don't recycle properly. We could do Trex plastic film recovery. So Trex is the company that makes plastic lumber, or composite lumber. They mix brown matter with plastic film. Amazon packaging. My wife has a major addiction to Amazon. I get 5 gray flexible bags every day. And if it comes in a box, the fabric comes in bubble wrap, which I can Trex. So I have a plastic bag that I hang on my coat rack. Every time I get those bags, and there's a lot of them, I stuff them in that bag and it can pack down. It probably takes 2 weeks to fill that thing. Take it to the school if they have a Next Trex Challenge. So I want you to look up Next Trex Challenge. I'll have this on my website. It's still under construction. We're working with WWF. If you go to lunch at Landfills, you can find about that now. But these are programs that you can start. I want you to start with food recovery and then build upon that. But if your school is throwing away milks and apples and otherwise recoverable food, they need to stop this year, and we have to make them. And it's the kids who can demand it if they want to ignore you. PTAs are a great conduit for that sort of thing. PTAs may fund it. Rotary clubs can buy refrigerators. Okay, we can provide compost bags and compost bins if you have that ability. I don't want it to be an expense for the school, and I don't want building services to be in charge of this. Because they're gonna say, we're underpaid, we can't do overwork, we can't do it. You're not gonna do it. The kids are gonna do it, they're gonna make your job easier. So these are the solutions that I want. Global Wildlife Fund is a great resource. We are partnering closely with them. They want Lunch Out of Landfills to be the entity that executes this program, but they have this Food Waste Warrior program. It's marvelous. I'm showing this picture. We'll go back? Okay. The last photograph I'm going to show you were Miss McKeever's fifth graders in 2019. And when we started the program, I asked the fifth graders, I said, what could you possibly do as a 10-year-old that could have any impact on the world at all? And they're like, nothing. It's like, wrong. Because what they started, these kids, they would go in the cafeteria every afternoon. They would weigh the organics, they would weigh the compostables, and the compost is in those clear bags where you have to dump it out of the clear bags because that'll clog the MRF equipment. But building services wants a plastic bag for the recycles to go in, but when it goes to the recycle dumpster, it's got to be out because that'll clog the MRF. But these kids really were the catalyst for this program. So those 12 kids in that picture are changing the world. And it is kids, if we empower them, if we let them understand the impact they really can have, they don't have to wait until they're an old Rotarian. They can do it as a kindergartner. So this is a QR code. I want to have a link. I will have it. This is a way you can at least respond and say, I'm interested. I'm going to talk to a lot of people. I am horribly unorganized. If any of you are interested in trying to get a program like this started, I want to help you. I'll talk to your club by Zoom. I'll talk to Interact clubs. I want students to talk to each other. One of the features we want to have on our website is I want a kid from Wichita, Kansas to be able to talk to a kid in Utah and share successes and failures and have them work collaboratively. Okay? So I think you're to have a sign-up kind of a thing where we can send you more literature. If you look up Lunch Out of Landfills, or negreen.org, the information is there. I have a toolkit. It's dry. There's tons of resources. There are great videos from Kiss the Ground. There's great videos and information from Project Drawdown. You can glean a lot. We've got sheets that you can use for data collection, because data collection is going to be really important. If you start in this in one school, I need data to convince other schools to do the same thing. Okay, we're done. But we got to get real.